Here are the highlights as 3 races remain in the 2025 Pro Motocross Championship. SMX playoffs looming in September. A wild race day. Spoiler alert on that one. 450 Moto 1. Here's the first crazy thing. Jet Lawrence goes early, bumps the gate, and he actually had his bike ahead of everyone else when that gate dropped, and that will lead to a penalty. More on that later. Meanwhile, Eli Tomac around the outside takes the lead.
Yeah, Eli had his stars figured out today, and just announcement of the Motocross Nations team, him being on that. You thought he was going to be fired up, but obviously wasn't feeling 100%. But Eli did a good job at going. But here's the big moment of the day. Jet Lawrence not bumps the gate, he jumps the gate. He ends up ahead of everybody before the gate drops, and it's going to be huge in how the rest of the day plays out.
Yeah, the AMA would give him a 1-lap penalty. We'll get to that in a moment. Chase Sexton, a decent start. End of lap 1 goes down.
Yeah, it goes down, and Chase picks himself up, and you're not going to see the 18 because Jet was still about 10 spots behind him. That jump the gate really cost him, and it was Hunter Lawrence working on Eli for a few laps. Eli had it going, but now we kind of know what the reason was. Hunter got out front. It looked like he had this thing wrapped up. He had about 9 seconds over these guys, but the 18 and the 1, they start coming.
Yeah, Sexton on an incredible charge, but he's got Jet Lawrence in the rear view, so he gets around Justin Cooper and then goes after RJ Hampshire.
Yeah, Chase rode really good today, especially that first moto, but Jet just followed him. Chase was able to get around these two, RJ and then even Eli Tomac. Put a little bit of gap on Jet, made Jet have to work his way up and close the gap, but Chase had it figured out that first moto. Really difficult for all these guys. They were making a lot of mistakes, but he was somewhat able to keep making his way up.
And then the battles continue. Now they've caught Tomac. Jet makes the move. Tomac tries to get it back.
Yeah, I don't think Eli likes that corner because he ends up getting past there, but here's the difference. Jet thinks he's going to do the same thing. Chase hangs in there. They almost collide right here. And then who's going to let off? Who's going to let off? Nobody. Jet runs in the back up, does a nice job at staying up. So you're thinking that points lead, that's it. No, he's going to go after him again. But the second time, Chase ain't letting him go through. Chase was on a mission. He wanted to make sure he beat the 18 and maybe have a shot at. So Jet said, all right, I'll take this third place, of which he thought. And then it was the moment of the race. Hunter Lawrence had a pretty good gap. Chase was closing, and then he got here after Hunter almost stalling it, and then he makes the pass right here in this new section. That was all she wrote for the number 1. He was able to pull away from that point.
And remember, he fell on lap 1. So this is an amazing come from behind charge and fending off Jet Lawrence to do it. Hunter admitted he was just pretty tired down the stretch, and that 9-second lead you mentioned he had wasn't enough. Chase Sexton wins the first moto at Ironman, just like he did the previous race at Washougal, but he almost falls.
Yeah, he almost falls, but he goes by another 100 feet. End up coming up later on.
So we mentioned the AMA penalizing Jet a full lap in that first moto due to the start violation. So he's actually only credited with 17th after it looked like he finished 3rd. So the overall win is totally up for grabs, and Hunter Lawrence wants to go get it.
Yeah, Hunter Lawrence, maybe both of them was mad because Hunter Lawrence came in and he move out of my way, move out of my way. Right here, nice move by Eli, kind of woke him up a little bit. Eli was trying to be aggressive, but you heard Jet, he said he blacked out coming in and making his way. There's this corner with Tomac going on the outside. Jet goes on the inside of him, and this was all on the first lap. Yeah, you can tell how hard he was hitting the throttle, and that's normally not like Jet. And he's going to do the same later in that same lap. He's going to pass his brother and pull a pretty good gap pretty quickly on these guys. So Jet was there outrunning for a reason. That penalty got to him, and it showed it. And he let these boys know he was not playing around this moto.
Yeah, he actually told us he wasn't happy with the way he was riding the number 18, but it sure looked good. Then Sexton, he was 6th, then goes back to 7th with this crash.
Yeah, this was the second lap. You can see Jet on the top of the screen. And then, look, Chase needed to make his way up. You can see in the upper left corner, Hunter Lawrence goes after running 2nd, slides out. And this was going to be huge on the points because it's going to allow Chase. If Chase would have finished behind him or beat him, he would have got the overall. Chase sees that. Hunter Lawrence is going through the monster banners, comes back on the track. Chase says, thank you, I appreciate that. Hometown boy, Captain America, and then this happens. Huge get off for Chase Sexton. Wasn't able to finish the motor, as you can see. He picks his bike up, and tough hit for him. Tries to get up, but the front brake and bike was all tore up, and he wouldn't finish this moto. So goes from overall to on the ground. I'm sure that's going to be costly, and maybe implications later on down the road, depending on how the season plays out.
And then you can see there's some sort of bike problem. Front brake, throttle stuck, something along those lines, maybe both. or maybe none of it. He eventually just drops the bike and walks away. And then Tomac looked like he had second in the Moto after all that, but then he stalls, and here comes Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter Lawrence, like, oh, I did that the first Moto too. So, you know, something about that corner right there, but really wouldn't change anything besides moving RJ up to second place, but nobody was messing with this guy. He was angry, and nice bounce back. And coming into this Moto, almost losing all those points to Chase Sexton, ends up gaining. But the real winner today, congratulations, Hunter Lawrence, 2-2 on the day. It was really good to see that. And even RJ, his first podium finish on the 450, well deserved for the whole team, and represent Dade City just well.
Yeah, it's second overall for him, and Tomac on a day where he didn't feel great ends up finishing third. Those are the results right there. Mentioned Tomac in third, Justin Cooper, a quiet day, but ends up fourth overall. Prado fifth, showing some signs, although keep in mind, Lawrence and Sexton had problems, so that did help everyone's results. And you can see that somehow Lawrence outscored Sexton on points today, even with a one-lap penalty in the first Moto. Dylan Ferrandis, welcome back, 7th. Malcolm Stewart, 8th. Justin Barcia, 9th. Sexton, a 1 and a last for 10th. Championship points, now 47, the gap with Lawrence over Lawrence. So that puts wrapping it up early in jeopardy. He needs a 50-point lead at the end of next Saturday's race at Unadilla, or it will go to the finale at Budds Creek. Tomac is just ahead of his teammate Justin Cooper for third in the championship.
Well, no matter what, Lawrence is going to win this title because they're the only ones left.
Yep, does look that way. When you combine the Supercross and Motocross standings together, Justin Cooper has darn well wrapped this up. Not quite mathematically, but he's got a big lead